Great film based on real events, but this is quite different. Not the inspirational true story. This is a cautionary tale. It's a true crime thriller.
Ron Howard's journey from TV's friendly neighborhood kid to a Hollywood directing powerhouse seems like the American dream come true. But behind the charm and success lies a story full of unexpected struggles, bullying by co-stars, dangerous accidents on set, and personal sacrifices that almost broke him. What kept one of America's favorite directors silent for so long? For nearly 50 years, Howard concealed the harsh realities behind the glitz, near-fatal mishaps, costly lawsuits, and family secrets that nearly destroyed his marriage. Now, he's finally speaking out about the shadows that trailed his dazzling career. Childhood struggles and early setbacks. Ron Howard's journey through Hollywood was anything but smooth, even from the very beginning. Born in 1954 in Duncan, Oklahoma, Ron's family wasn't wealthy. In fact, they struggled to get by. By 1958, when Ron was just 4, his parents took a bold leap, packing everything and moving to Hollywood in hopes of better opportunities. It was a risky decision with no guarantees, landing them in a tiny Burbank home, barely scraping by. Yet this move quietly set the stage for Ron's lifelong connection to the entertainment industry, as he grew up surrounded by film sets and cameras. Ron's entry into acting was almost accidental. At only 18 months old, he appeared in a brief scene in the movie Frontier Woman at his father's whim. This small role launched him into the world of show business, but his parents were determined to protect him from the harsh realities of child stardom. They imposed a strict rule: no full-time acting until he was 5 years old. While this decision nearly bankrupted them, forcing them to pawn possessions and turn down paying roles, it spoke to their genuine concern about giving Ron a normal childhood. Even with this protection, life during those early years was difficult. Ron's father, Rance Howard, had recently left the Air Force and struggled to find stable work as an actor and writer. The family faced so many financial hardships that at one desperate point, Rance seriously considered quitting Hollywood altogether to become a farmer in Oklahoma. But they stayed the course, determined to give Ron a chance, even as debt mounted to the equivalent of $5,000 today. Ron's earliest experiences on set were far from glamorous. When finally cast in the 1959 movie The Journey, his name appeared in the credits for the first time, but that milestone was overshadowed by cruelty from crew members. They mocked his red hair and freckles, calling him names like freckle-faced freak, which broke his young heart. His father had to confront the abusive treatment, arguing with crew members at risk of losing work. The job barely paid over $12,000, but it meant the world to the family. Despite those challenges, Ron's parents tried to maintain normalcy. They kept him in public school and encouraged him to be just a regular kid whenever possible. However, the increasing pressures of the industry seeped into his life. By 1960, Ron auditioned for and won the role of Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show, which became a national sensation. At only 6 years old, he was thrust into the spotlight, carrying a beloved character through 249 episodes. The show's success brought fame and steady income, but it also came with intense demands. Ron had to memorize long scripts, meet tight schedules, and deliver perfect performances without the benefit of a live audience. Behind the scenes, he was growing up fast, balancing the innocence of childhood with the responsibility of a workaholic lifestyle. He developed a close bond with Andy Griffith, who became both mentor and father figure, guiding Ron through the complexities of acting and emotional challenges on set. But not all aspects of the show were happy. Howard witnessed Andy Griffith struggle with alcoholism, sometimes erupting in angry outbursts that unsettled the cast and crew. On one occasion, Andy publicly read a harsh review and visibly broke down, revealing vulnerabilities behind his jovial public persona. Still, he remained supportive of Ron, helping him navigate the emotional demands of his role with kindness and patience. But just when hope seemed dim, a turning point was on the horizon, a new phase of challenges and revelations that would test him in unexpected ways. The Opie shaming incident in 1973, Ron Howard's budding film career took a dark turn during the production of the now classic American Graffiti. Though the movie promised to launch him into new heights, off-camera life was far from glamorous. Co-stars Harrison Ford and Paul Lumet subjected Ron to relentless bullying, marking what he later called his only moment of Opie shaming. The torment included throwing beer bottles near his car, locking him inside a trailer to make him miss rehearsals, and spiking his drinks, all because Ron had been a beloved child star and they didn't respect that legacy. Howard endured this harassment silently. The humiliation gnawed at him, but he kept his pain private for decades, unwilling to tarnish the film's success or his own image. At that time, Hollywood was hardly a kinder place, especially for those who had transitioned from child acting to adult roles. Ron's experience exposed the harsh reality that even fame did not shield him from cruelty on set. Despite the torment, Ron persevered, managing to complete his role and earn $10,000 from the film. It was a modest sum compared to the box office success American Graffiti would achieve, grossing over $115 million in the United States alone. Yet, the emotional scars from the bullying lingered, shaping Ron's approach to relationships and trust within the industry. The time period of several years brought Harrison Ford to express his apology to Ron because he understood the damaging effects that his treatment of Ron had caused. The apology provided some degree of resolution, yet the incident continued to exist as a disturbing memory throughout Howard's professional path. The experience demonstrated how childhood stardom presents both temporary success and difficulties which young performers face when they attempt to interact with Hollywood's social networks. The experience showed how industry relationships bring about difficulties that people who work together in the field face. American Graffiti developed into a classic film, yet its production faced destruction through toxic behavior that remained unknown to everyone except members who belonged to its close-knit group. The public statement from Ron explained how child actors experience intense pressure to show themselves without any faults because their internal struggles remain hidden from others. Ron experienced a profound transformation to his Hollywood perspective through this event, which led him to make a decision to leave acting behind in favor of directing work which allowed him to control his surroundings. The incident established his dual need for caution and resilience, which would guide him throughout his leadership responsibilities on subsequent film productions. The OP shaming incident served as a personal challenge for Ron, which transformed into a critical moment that equipped him to handle the difficult situations which would arise during his upcoming professional career. From these early setbacks and painful betrayals grew a new phase of triumphs and trials, as one of television's brightest stars navigated the highs and lows of sudden fame. The rise of Happy Days and behind-the-scenes tensions. When Ron Howard landed the role of Richie Cunningham on Happy Days in 1974, it seemed like a fresh start. The show offered him steady work and a chance to redefine himself after years of struggle transitioning from child star to respected actor. The first episode drew in 11 million viewers, signaling a bright future. Initially centered on teenage life in 1950s Milwaukee, Happy Days slowly evolved into a cultural phenomenon. By 1976, the show skyrocketed in popularity, thanks in large part to Henry Winkler's breakout role as the Fonz. Fonzie's rebellious charisma captured the audience's imagination, and ratings soared to 31 million viewers weekly. However, this shift brought challenges for Ron. Though he had been the show's lead from the start, he now found himself overshadowed in the public eye and the producers' plans. ABC executives pushed to rename the series Fonzie's Happy Days to capitalize on Winkler's rising fame. This proposal struck at the heart of the original story, sidelining Ron's character Richie. Not willing to be pushed aside, Ron gave an ultimatum in November 1976. He would quit if the show's title changed. The threat nearly ended the series, but public outrage saved it. More than 10,000 angry letters flooded ABC, demanding that the show keep its original name. The network relented, preserving Happy Days as the title and Ron Howard's place as its leading star. Yet, beneath the victory simmered tension. The rise of Fonzie had altered dynamics on set, setting the stage for jealousy and resentment. Even as the show pulled in $50 million a year by 1977, the cast grappled with issues over screen time, pay disparities, and favoritism. Ron earned $25,000 per episode, roughly one-third of Henry Winkler's $75,000. Anson Williams, who played Potsy, was making even less, half of Ron's salary. These inequities created friction that grew over time. During a November 1976 shoot, Williams walked off set reportedly furious that a scene had been rewritten to favor Ron. Rumors of on-set fights and deep resentment circulated, though no physical altercations were confirmed. ABC sought to keep these disputes quiet to protect the show's image and its $50 million merchandising machine. Yet, the problems bubbled under the surface for years. In 2012, Anson Williams and other former cast members sued CBS over unpaid royalties from Happy Days merchandise. Though Ron was not involved, he later admitted in 2025 that these moments nearly destroyed friendships forged during the show's peak. Amid the conflicts, Ron quietly began exploring avenues beyond acting. In early 1975, he directed his first short film, Deed of Daring Do, using a tiny budget and a brief 2-week break. Henry Winkler even made a cameo, signaling their complicated but ongoing bond. The short success encouraged Ron to pursue directing full-time, planting the seeds for his future trajectory. Ron's experiences on Happy Days set the stage for a dramatic shift in his career as he prepared to face new challenges behind the camera, moving on from child star struggles toward creative control. Directorial debut and early challenges. Ron Howard's shift from in front of the camera to behind it marked a bold new chapter that would define his career. While still starring on Happy Days, he quietly made his first short film, Deed of Daring Do, in early 1975. Working with a shoestring budget of just $2,000 and shooting in a mere 2 weeks, Ron showed early signs of directorial promise. Henry Winkler, his co-star, made a cameo, adding a friendly nod from their complex on-set relationship. Though rumors swirled about plagiarism, no evidence ever linked Ron to copying, reflecting the unclear copyright landscape of the time. This modest project wasn't just a side endeavor. It won a small prize at the Atlanta Film Festival that September, giving Ron the encouragement he needed to pursue directing more seriously. That push led to his first feature film, Grand Theft Auto, released in 1977. Shot on a budget of $600,000, it became a surprising success, grossing around $15 million. Despite the accomplishment, the production was anything but smooth. An on-set stunt accident seriously injured Paul Bartel, leaving Ron worried his directing career could be over before it began. The lawsuit that followed was quietly settled in 1978, but the incident deeply affected Ron. The experience brought home the dangers that could lurk behind movie magic, cementing his lifelong commitment to on-set safety. This focus would shape his reputation in later years as a director who valued not just the craft but the well-being of his cast and crew. Grand Theft Auto, while far from a blockbuster, set the foundation for a conscientious directing style that balanced ambition with care. After his transition to directing, Ron achieved his first major success with Splash, which he released in 1984. The romantic comedy film, which cost $11 million to produce, achieved almost $70 million in box office earnings. The production team experienced internal conflicts which created problems throughout the entire project. Hanks had a reputation for throwing temper tantrums whenever someone altered the script, and he almost lost the film because of his explosive argument with staff members. Ron intervened to end the fight, which demonstrated his ability to control dangerous situations on movie sets.